flurry of announcements and news about Trump staffing up for his second term in the past 24 hours. He really is bringing back that guy.
Donald Trump is filling up all of his cabinet appointments. We're getting a better sense of just how radical he wants his second term to be.
Calling all concerned citizens. Ever feel like you're watching a reality show called Who Wants to Be a Cabinet Member, where the contestants compete to see who can bend the rules the furthest without breaking? Well, grab your popcorn, because Trump's new cabinet lineup is here, and it's a doozy. By the end of this video, you'll be able to spot an ethics violation from a mile away. You'll be the Sherlock Holmes of political scandals, the Nancy Drew of governmental ne'er-do-wells. So, are you ready to become a certified swamp spotter? Let's dive in. Remember when Trump promised to drain the swamp back in 2016? Well, folks, it looks like he's not just refilling it, he's turning it into a luxury mud bath for all his buddies. Trump swore up and down he'd run the most ethical administration ever, but his new cabinet picks, they're about as ethical as a fox guarding the hen house. Let's take a peek at some of these characters, shall we? First up, we've got a guy who thinks the Constitution is more of a suggestion than a rule book. Then there's the climate change denier who probably thinks global warming is just the Earth going through a hot flash. And don't forget the Wall Street tycoon who considers insider trading a national sport. But here's the kicker, Trump's idea of ethics is spelled methics. It's all about what's good for the Donald, folks. He's collecting yes men faster than he collects golf trophies. And trust me, that's saying something. Now, you might be thinking, surely it can't get any worse than this. Oh, but it can, and it does. Just when you thought Trump had scraped the bottom of the barrel, he breaks out a shovel and keeps digging. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the crown jewel of Trump's cabinet of curiosities, Marco Rubio as Secretary of State. Yes, you heard that right.
The New York Times is first to report that Senator Marco Rubio will be Donald Trump's choice for Secretary of State. We speak Marco Rubio, the expected choice by Donald Trump to be his Secretary of State.
The same Marco Rubio who Trump used to call Little Marco is now in charge of our foreign policy. I guess in Trump's world, the ability to chug water on live TV qualifies you to handle international diplomacy. But wait, there's more.
Because together with Donald Trump, we are going to make America not just great, but greater than it has ever been before. Thanks.
Oh yes, we're just getting started on this magical mystery tour of ethical nightmares. Trump's got a whole lineup of characters that make cartoon villains look like saints.
Appointing ultra-loyal, but true believers in his cause who will do exactly what he wants in government.
We've got billionaires who think the minimum wage is too high, former lobbyists ready to regulate the very industries they used to work for, and climate skeptics prepared to lead environmental agencies. It's like Trump's playing a game of how low can you go with our government, and let me tell you, he's limbo champion of the world. But don't worry folks, this is just the appetizer in our feast of political absurdity. We've got a whole buffet of questionable choices coming up next.
A flurry of announcements and news about Trump staffing up for his second term in the past 24 hours. He really is bringing back that guy.
So stick around, because in Trump's America, the swamp isn't just back. It's bigger, badder, and slimier than ever before. Ever wonder what a government run by the bad guys from Captain Planet would look like? Well, Trump's new cabinet is making those eco-villains look like tree huggers. Turns out, ethics rules for government officials are more like suggestions in Trump's world. You know, like speed limits or do not feed the animals signs at the zoo. These cabinet picks seem to be in a heated competition for most likely to be indicted. It's like they're collecting ethics violations the way kids collect Pokemon cards. We've got one guy who thinks conflict of interest is just a fancy term for bonus opportunity. Another thinks insider trading is a fun weekend hobby. And let's not forget the one who believes environmental regulations are just pesky obstacles in the way of a good oil spill. But wait, there's more. Remember when Trump said he'd have the most ethical administration ever? Well, his idea of ethics training probably consists of how to shred documents 101 and advanced paper eating techniques. I hear the final exam is a practical test on how quickly you can delete your browser history. You might be thinking, surely it can't get any worse than this. Oh, you sweet summer child.
Donald Trump was back in the White House today holding talks with President Biden about the transition of power.
Hold on to your hats, folks, because here comes the kicker. In one of his final acts as president, Trump decided to play a little game of ethics schmethics. He revoked his own executive order that banned former administration officials from lobbying for 5 years. That's right, he basically said, you know all those rules I made to stop corruption? Yeah, never mind about those. It's like Trump was playing 4D chess, except the game was how to make government as shady as possible. He didn't just move the goalposts, he picked them up and ran off the field with them. And now, with his new cabinet picks, he's assembling a team that makes his first term look like an ethics convention. But don't worry, folks, this is just the warm-up act. Trump's got a whole circus of questionable characters lined up, and they're all itching to join his ethically challenged all-star team. So stick around, because up next, we're diving into a group so rich they probably use $100 bills as toilet paper.
And thank you very much. And politics is tough, and it's in many cases not a very nice world, but
spoiler alert, they make Scrooge McDuck look like a charitable soul. Remember when Trump's first cabinet was so rich, people joked they used 100 bills as napkins? Well, his new lineup makes those guys look like they're scrounging for coins in the couch cushions. Trump's 2024 cabinet picks are so loaded, they probably think food stamps are something you lick to mail your yacht. Let's take a peek at some of these money moguls, shall we? First up, we've got Elon Musk. This guy's worth over $200 billion. That's more zeros than Trump's golf scorecard.
President-elect has tapped tech billionaire Elon Musk for a role in his incoming cabinet, overseeing a new Department of Government Efficiency.
The administration has been becoming clearer throughout the day with a flurry of new appointments, including the richest man on the planet, Elon Musk.
Musk might lead a new Department of Government Efficiency, because nothing says efficiency like a guy who spends his free time tweeting about turning Twitter into X. At a rally, Musk bragged he'd slash $2 trillion from the budget. How? By canceling all those pesky social programs, probably. Then there's Jeff Yass, worth a cool $7 billion. He's being eyed for Treasury Secretary. Yass has thrown $46 million at conservative causes this election cycle.
Trump campaign, didn't he? Pumping millions of his own money into Mr. Trump's run for office.
That's like me tossing a quarter in a fountain for him. The guy's so rich, he probably thinks the Treasury is just a bigger version of his piggy bank. And let's not forget John Paulson, sitting pretty on $3.8 billion. He's also in the running for Treasury Secretary. Paulson hosted a fundraiser that pulled in $50 million for Trump and the GOP. That's not a fundraiser, that's a billionaire's bake sale. Trump's new cabinet is so fancy, their first meeting will probably be on a mega yacht. They'll discuss important issues like, should we gold plate Air Force One? And can we replace the White House lawn with a putting green? But here's the $1 million question, or $1 billion for this crowd. How out of touch can these folks be? Well, buckle up, Buttercup, cause it's about to get wild. One of these bigwigs, Scott Bessent, is so confident in Trump's re-election that he's predicting a Trump rally in the stock market because nothing says man of the people like getting excited about rich folks getting richer, right? It's like Trump's playing a game of Monopoly, but instead of little plastic houses, he's using real government departments. And all his rich buddies get to be the top hats and fancy cars, while the rest of us are left being the old shoe. But hey, don't worry. I'm sure these billionaires have their fingers on the pulse of everyday Americans. They probably take their private jets to Walmart all the time, just to mingle with the commoners. Up next, we'll see how Trump makes sure all these rich folks are also his BFFs. Spoiler alert, it involves a lot of ring kissing and a pop quiz on the 2020 election results. Alright folks, pop quiz time. What's more important for a cabinet position? A. Years of relevant experience. B. Advanced degrees. Or C. The ability to recite Trump won in your sleep. If you picked C, congratulations. You're overqualified for Trump's new administration. In Trump's world, qualifications means knowing how to kiss the ring and sing his praises. He's made it crystal clear that loyalty is the #1 trait he's looking for in his second-term cabinet picks. It's like he's assembling a cheerleading squad instead of a government.
Donald Trump is filling up all of his cabinet appointments. We're getting a better sense of just how radical he wants his second term to be.
Yes, indeed, Steve. He's moving quickly, isn't he, Donald Trump, to unveil the people who will be populating leading his cabinet.
Trump's spokesperson, Stephen Chung, confirmed that they're prioritizing vocal allies over boring old things like experience or actual skills. Because who needs competence when you've got yes men, right? It's a stark contrast to how normal governments hire people. Usually they look for folks who know what they're doing. But in Trump's America, it's all about who can shout, "Make America Great Again," the loudest. Take Elon Musk, for example. He's being considered for a cabinet position not because he knows anything about running a government department, but because he's rich and likes Trump. It's like hiring a plumber to do your taxes because he complimented your haircut.
Good evening to you, Nora. Every staffing announcement provides further confirmation that Trump rewards those who are devoted to him and passionate.
And get this, Trump's hinting at appointing family members or TV personalities to his cabinet because nothing says qualified like being related to Trump or having good ratings. Next thing you know, he'll be nominating his golf caddy for Secretary of Defense.
The first Donald Trump presidential term had so many cabinet officials forced out of office in disgrace.
The Trump loyalty test is so intense, I hear his cabinet interviews consist of just one question: who really won in 2020? If you hesitate for even a second, you're out faster than a Trump casino goes bankrupt. But how far will this loyalty obsession go? Will he start requiring cabinet members to get MAGA tattoos? Maybe he'll make them all legally change their middle names to Trump. Or perhaps he'll install a giant mirror in the Oval Office so he can always see his own reflection during meetings.
Today, as President-elect Donald Trump continues to announce the names of the loyalists who will make up his administration.
Thank you very much. This is a very nice gathering. Isn't it nice to win?
In all seriousness though, this loyalty over competence approach is pretty scary. It's like Trump's trying to turn the US government into his own personal fan club. And while it might be funny to joke about, the real world consequences could be dire.
He's in both the House of Representatives and the Senate, meaning that they will control all the key levers of power in national government.
So folks, as we wrap up this circus of a cabinet selection, remember, in Trump's America, it's not what you know, it's who you praise. Stay tuned for our final segment where we'll sum up this whole mess and talk about why it matters to you. Spoiler alert, it matters a lot unless you enjoy having your country run by a bunch of Trump cheerleaders.
That gets you listed repeatedly as the worst or among the worst ever presidents in U.S. history when presidential historians and scholars are surveyed about these things.
Well, folks, we've reached the end of our Trump cabinet tour, and what a wild ride it's been. From billionaires who think food stamps are yacht accessories to yes men who'd probably rename themselves Trump Jr. If asked, this lineup is more absurd than a reality TV show. But here's the thing, this isn't just a joke. These picks could seriously mess things up for regular Americans. As historian Richard Norton Smith said, a cabinet filled with unqualified individuals not only jeopardizes the integrity of the administration, but also threatens the very fabric of democracy. That's fancy talk for we're in trouble if these clowns get power. So what can we do? Pay attention, folks. Don't let these shenanigans slip by. Get informed, speak up, and vote like your country depends on it, because it kinda does. Remember, in a democracy, we're the boss. It's time to tell Grumpy Trumpy and his merry band of millionaires that we're not buying what they're selling. Let's make sure the only place Trump gets to play president is in his Mar-a-Lago playpen.